G'day guys, welcome to the Cinebounce for this new segment called The Watch List featuring James Jordon, the 23-year-old midfielder moving across from the Melbourne Demons to the Sydney Swans. The 23-year-old is 187 centimetres tall and has played 65 games in his 3-year career. In terms of role, it has been fluctuating, mostly on a wing and occasionally at high half forward, with the occasional pinch in the centre bounce attendances. He is not a contested ball winner. He is definitely more of an outside ball user where he likes to use his skills and his traits in order to help get the ball moving quickly at an aggressive pace. In his first season, he attended CBAs in 19 games, the centre bounce attendances, of which he averaged about 24% in each of them. The second season saw him play almost exclusively on the wing, and he only attended one centre bounce in one game, which amounted to 4%. And in his third season, his final one at the Melbourne Demons, he attended CBAs in 16 games at an average of 27.5%. As you can see, his disposals are predominantly uncontested in nature, of course, given the role that he has been forced to play so far in his career. Only 29.4% of his disposals are contested, which would mean, if the maths is correct, 70.6% being uncontested. That is no knock on him, and it does not suggest that he is incapable of winning a contested possession. When put in a really tight situation under immense heat, he's still capable of stepping past one player and shrugging the likes of Lance Buddy Franklin, if you don't mind, putting him on the ground and evading very nicely. I mentioned his traits before. He is a good kick of the football, and that is part of the reason why he has been recruited to go across to the Sydney Swans via the free agency route. He has a disposal efficiency of 77.4%, which is above average in the AFL, and a kicking efficiency of 64.6%, which is also above average. Now, you might look at these statistics and think, geez, that's not very good. Is that reflective of the league in general, or is that... I will leave that up to you to make that decision. He averages 10 effective disposals per game, 2 of those being inside 50s and 1 a rebound 50. You'd expect, though, being a winger, that he'd be able to work his way up and down the ground and have a bit more of these statistics. However, this should not be seen as a knock on him as a player. He was part of the Melbourne Demons after all, and they are renowned for their use of wingers, and we can't forget that in this past season, they added Lockie Hunter from the Western Bulldogs, who does not get enough credit for the work that he does up and down the ground. He's moving, though, to the Sydney Swans. The Sydney Swans, who finished 8th on the ladder this year, with 12 wins, 10 losses, and a draw, with a percentage of 110. In terms of the metrics, they were the 7th overall rated team in the competition, with an offensive rating of 7 and a defensive rating of 8. They were also ranked 9th in average age per player at 25.5 years. James Jordon fits perfectly into this age bracket, considering that he is still quite young in his career, only played 3 seasons, and this is a growing list. Apart from the age, how else do the Sydney Swans and James Jordon fit in together? Well, the Sydney Swans like to play a direct brand of football. They like to get quite a bit of meters gained per disposal, and they love to use their feet in order to do so. So the Sydney Swans average about 16.2 meters per disposal. James Jordon, for his career, averages 15. This statistic is actually not quite representative of how he's been using the ball in his last 2 seasons, both of which at about 16 meters and 15.5. So he's certainly hovering around the same style that they like to play. And when you look at the footage, you can see that he likes to get the ball moving as quickly as possible. Very aggressive, and he loves to challenge opposition defenders whilst also taking the right option most of the time. Rather than going out wide, he decides to look inboard where the space is, and he hits up Clayton Oliver, who drills this goal. In terms of kicking, the Sydney Swans, they like to kick it 60% of the time. However, they only go at about 65% efficiency. This has them as at equal 14th in the league for kicking efficiency. And so you can see another reason why the Sydney Swans would like to have the ball in James Jordon's hands and having him be part of that team. They've relied on the rise of Errol Goulden, who has had a sensational season, almost clinched out the Brownlow medal as well. That is how good he did. Having another young player in James Jordon to try and complement this entourage of midfielders in the middle for the Sydney Swans is really important. Now, we mentioned before that Melbourne Demons had recruited Lockie Hunter in order to fill that wing role. Well, that's actually quite the opposite for the Sydney Swans. They have delisted Ryan Clark and they traded out Dylan Stephens to North Melbourne. Both of these players are wingers, so you can almost be guaranteed that we're going to be seeing James Jordon featuring on the wing for the Sydney Swans in 2024. They love to move the ball with pace, and that is exactly how Jordon likes to play. His size would also help Sydney to take more marks around the ground. A statistic that the Swans are ranked 15th in the competition. And when you look at the fact that they have poor kicking efficiency in the league, it's no surprise that they haven't been able to hit targets and therefore have struggled to take a mark. Another reason why the Swans have struggled when it comes to the marking department is also because of the fact that their midfielders are not tall at all. It's very Essendon-esque, dare I say it, in terms of the size of these players. They've added Taylor Adams, who's a 181 centimetre player. Errol Goulden is at 176 centimetres. James Jordon finds himself at 187 centimetres, which is 11 centimetres taller than him. You've also got the likes of Chad Warner, who's a 181 centimetre player, Angus Sheldrick at 179, Luke Parker at 183. There's a couple of slightly taller players going through the midfield in Justin McInerney. However, this is very few and far between. James Jordon will find himself settled in very nicely in that midfield rotation. So, what is the prediction? James Jordon will certainly be a solid role player, playing on a wing and resting at half forward with the occasional centre bounce attendance. He's by no means going to be a star and dominate the competition, from what we can tell. However, he is certainly an upgrade on the players who have departed, and he's been added as another kicking option when Nick the Lizard Baleki is shut down. The Swans are at their best when the ball is flying out of half-back with pace. However, they have struggled to get some forward movement when these types of players are quietened down. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our first episode here of the watch list featuring James Jordon. Let us know in the comments down below how you liked this new format of video. And stay tuned, because I'll be going through each of the players that have moved and trying to see how they will fit in their new sides. Guys, make sure you give us a like if you did like the channel, a subscribe if you're new, and tell your friends and family that the Centre Bounce does the hard work so that you don't have to. We'll see you all in the next one, guys.